Saul and David once again. So let's see. David is running from Saul, and he gets to this city called Keilah. Okay? And they're in a lot of trouble. Philistines are totally going to annihilate them. This is actually what's happening, and these are some vocabulary words for Grace, because Grace likes vocabulary, okay? So there's a couple of things in this first verse. It says, when David was told, look, the Philistines are fighting against Keilah, and this is what they were doing. They were looting the threshing floor. So the vocabulary word is looting. What does looting mean? Looting means when, for instance, when the tornado was in Wichita Falls. The tornado came through, it tore up everybody's houses, but there was still a lot of stuff that was still good that didn't get tore up. But your house now had a big hole, or on the side of the house where a wall used to be, and the wall was gone. But inside there was still stuff like your clothes, your TV, your bikes, stuff like that. So what looting is when you go into a bad situation where there's been like a disaster, like in a fire or an earthquake, and you go and you take everybody's stuff. It's not exactly stealing, because it's not like you're breaking into a perfectly awesome house that wasn't damaged, but it's kind of the same thing, because the people could have probably saved the stuff, but you just go and take it. So that's looting. So the Philistines are looting the threshing floor. So what is a threshing floor? That's where they would grind the grain so that they could make bread, and bread was the main thing everybody ate for all their food. So by saying they were looting the threshing floor, what does that mean? So Keilah was in bad shape because they were going to have no food, right? So David heard about it. So first thing he did is he prayed, and he said, Lord, shall I go and attack the Philistines? And this is what God said. He said, go, attack the Philistines. So they got all of his guys together, and they were going to go do it. But all of his men started saying, we're afraid. We're afraid in our own town of the Philistines, much less if we go where they are and they're fighting that city of Keilah. We're afraid. So David thought about it. He said, well, maybe I should pray again. So he prayed again, inquired of the Lord again, and the Lord said, go down. Same exact words that he gave him before, but this time he gave him a promise, which is a really awesome thing to have in your life. You have a promise from the Lord. No? Can you guys think of any promises God's given you? The word declaration. So he said, the Lord said, go down to the threshing, go down to Keilah, what a lie, a hard word. And this is the promise, for I'm going to give the Philistines into your hand. So David went down. Let's see. He went down and he saved the people. So the Lord kept his promise. What do you know about that? Always does that. So Saul was told that David was there in Keilah. So Saul also knew that the city was like this big walled city, and it had iron gates and everything. So what Saul said was, so David has now put himself in a prison, and I'm going to go and I'm going to catch him because he can't get out of the prison. But David found out about Saul finding out, and he prayed and he said, Lord, is Saul going to come to the city? And God said, yep. And he prayed and he said, are these people from this city going to give me to Saul? And he said, yep. So it's pretty simple. The Lord, when He talks to us, He just says real short. Usually He makes it really simple. Like when I started driving this truck, and I was worried that I was gonna have a wreck and I was gonna mess up. The Lord just told me, "I got your back." And when we were really struggling with what to do about moving out of Walthall, and Mom hadn't got a job yet, the Lord just gave us the word, said, "Get ready." Get ready. 2 words. So God's real good about speaking to us, just little short words, and that's what David said. He said, "Lord, is Saul going to come?" And God said, "He will." And then he says, "Is the town going to give me to Saul?" And he said, "They will." Real short sentences. So he escaped, and Saul just kept searching for him all around. They were in the desert, in the high country. And then Jonathan, his buddy, came and sought him out and found him. And Jonathan encouraged David in the Lord. Because David had to be just so frustrated that the king kept chasing him all over the place, and he had never done anything wrong for the king. The king was just jealous. And Jonathan came and encouraged him in the Lord and helped him find strength in the Lord. And he said, "Don't be afraid. You're going to be king." Once again. And then he once again said, "Don't forget the promise we made. You're going to take care of my kids. And you're going to take care of my family." So eventually Saul got really close to catching David. There was a mountain, and David was on one side, and Saul was on the other. And they were coming to the end. And they were going to meet, and David is going to be caught by Saul. And just so happened the Philistines started attacking the city back home, and word came to Saul, and just before they got to the end of the mountain where they would meet and Saul would finally catch David, he had to go back home and fight the Philistines. So the Lord really looked out for David, and the Lord really looks out for us. He talks to us and encourages us. And when we get down, He always sends somebody across our path, or a person to talk to us, encourage us in the Lord, a sermon, or just a scripture from His Word. We'll be reading the Word. He'll give us a scripture. He takes good care of us. He's a good God. Guys, have a good night.